Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion is CSI. And no, I'm not talking about the television show. What I'm talking about is competency, stability, and intentions. When you look at leadership, whatever it is within government, um, your home, wherever you're at, you look for at least two or three of these things. Competency is going to lead to stability. But what the intentions are, that may not be revealed until later on. But if you have the first two, then the third one is usually going to play out in your favor. Now, I'm watching the news on the other day, and they're talking about Joe Biden. Um, the job report came out. They had like 225,000 jobs reported. They was estimating some 700,000. Then they were attacking him on uh, Afghanistan, how many Americans was left behind, and his poll numbers is come back low. They're wondering if he's overwhelmed by all this, all this happening to him at one time. And this is all coming in within the last week. Now, the thing is, when you look at what's going on with the world, well, with this country, and you look at the president and what he's dealing with, you also have to look at the other things that this country is doing, what this governing body is doing. They value lives over here in Afghanistan, but the laws they pass contradict everything else they do. They passed a law last year stating that if you driving down the road and they protesting and protesters get in your way, you have the right to run them over with your own car. If you feel that this mob is dangerous, and all you got to do is just feel they're dangerous, you can run them over and you won't be charged. They just passed an abortion bill down here in Texas that denies a woman an abortion, but gives the people the power to sue. And you're talking about give who the power to sue? Let's say a woman is pregnant and she calls an Uber to take her down to the abortion clinic. You could be walking down the street and you can see the Uber driver helping a lady out the car. You can then sue the Uber driver. What sense does this make? How do you get so angry at Afghanistan and all this other stuff and then pass laws that pit one American against another? And this is the country that blacks are fighting for? This is what you want to be a part of? You know, when you in boot camp, I don't know how long it takes to go through boot camp. I think it's like 6 months. Within 6 months, they're going to determine whether or not you're ready to be a soldier. It ain't going to take a year, 2 years, or whatever. You got 6 months to prove yourself. America has been over in Afghanistan 20 years. And not one time within those 20 years did these people say that they're ready to take the helm. So you already knew what was going to happen. It's when you look at the incompetence that's sitting in the White House right now today, how do you justify their presence still now? How long have these people been in power? Look at every decision they made. Look at the laws they passed. You have to question the competency. And then ask yourself, how are these people still doing this work? You know, when you look at the job numbers, they stated that only 200,000 some jobs were created, but they was expecting 700,000. That's because these people has a low mentality. They feel that as soon as somebody stick a help wanted sign in the window, that people are just going to start rushing back to work. But they already stated that the jobs that was hiring were low paying jobs. So if the cost of living is here and the jobs that's hiring pay is here, what's the incentive for people to work? Why do you think people are going to, um, get off of their unemployment, get off of their public assistance, and go work for a job that's not going to pay livable wages? This is why the jobs numbers are low. It ain't nothing about, and trust me, I'm not backing up Joe Biden whatsoever. But this is why the numbers are what they are. But they don't see this. Just like Donald Trump when he was in office, he felt that as soon as a certain date passed on the calendar, that all the jobs lost from COVID were just gonna come rushing back. It ain't gonna work like that, bro. You know, when you see the like I said, the incompetency of this president, the incompetency of these congressmen, you know, you just left to wonder. Why haven't anybody else at least tried to assume authority over these people? Replace them. I remember when I went to one of the meetings, it was a black group meeting, and I was, like I said, I've always been a proponent of us starting our own system, not even trying to align ourselves with these people. Because if America, let's say it like this, if America is a soup, you know the soup is bad. But if I had some new ideas, and let's call these new ideas potatoes, and I took these potatoes and I put it into this soup that's America, what's going to happen to these potatoes? They're going to be overwhelmed by this nasty soup. No matter what you put in this pot, it's going to be corrupt. This is why when you put a politician with good intentions into the White House, they're going to be overwhelmed by the corrupt immoral presence that's already there. You have to do just about 100% remove and replacement for any significant change to be made that will positively impact the people's life. So instead of wasting your time, trying to fix this system, and I'm listening to, they was talking to John Hope, who was a social, some kind of guy, organization. So he be having Hope Project Hope. He always uses his name in something, but what it is, he's a fool. Keep talking about every time the economy broke, they did this and they did that and it came roaring back. Why would you keep wasting your time trying to fix something that breaks repeatedly? How come you can't create an economic philosophy that has no breaks? This country is 246 years old. And you can get economic breaks every 10 years. Who can sustain their life when you got economic collapses that frequent? This make no sense. You know, you have politicians and well, when you have government and politicians, when they reach a certain status in their position, They put their kids in the private schools that the people who put them in office can't afford to go. So this shows their intentions. When you have senators sending, or the president sending military men to war, but the Marines and Army and the Navy, they all got a different hospitalization plan than the people who sent them. Why is that? That shows their intentions. When you elect people in the office and they can vote and increase their pay at will, but you can't. How can you put people in the position and they have more power and authority than you? This is why I say this system is corrupt. It is beyond corrupt. It makes no sense to try to fix it. The only thing we can do is do what we can to stabilize it long enough for us to get a foothold and start building our own, and so we can create our own system and our own way of governing ourselves. Because remember this, um, when you had Black Wall Street, Seneca Falls, New York, Rosewood, Florida, any other dozens of black communities that sprouted out across this country, not one time have you ever heard that these communities were formed illegally. Not one time have you ever heard that. There was no laws broken when they built their own communities. That means you don't have to ask Whitey for their permission on how to put food on your table. We can build our own institutions and govern ourselves and create pockets within this country so we can live by our determination, where we can have a say on how we live, how we progress, how we develop our people. So anybody who's looking to ask permission or seek approval, they don't want to do it in the first place. It's sad when the power to change all our lives lies in the power of us assuming control over our own essential businesses and industries. Once you do that, then you can establish your economic floor. You can establish your social standards. You will gain respect not only amongst your people, but amongst anybody else who would oppose you. Because you are no longer walking around with your hands out begging for crumbs. You sustaining yourself. So if you do have to send some of your people out into the world outside of our network, the reputation that we had created by building our own will follow them. They'll know these Negroes now have built their own businesses and industries. They've established a level of pay, a level of respect, and they can't lowball you. But as long as we sit back and do nothing, like I say, when you march, when you pay a social leader, which really they social followers because they don't lead you anywhere. They following the agenda of Whitey. You tell me one social leader that has led his people to a sustained community where they can live a self-determined life. Here you see Al Sharpton taking more pictures with white politicians and white people than he do with Negroes. These are the people that put you in the position that you in. Once we assume authority over our way of life, that will change the narrative of our people from now on. Because once we do this, we can never go back to putting these powers in the hands of anyone else. That should be the purpose of any social movement, any church, any organization you go to, Black Lives Matter, whatever. Put some respect on that name. Make them be what they say they're going to be. If Black Lives Matter, ask them where are the businesses and industries that support our way of life. If National Action Network is an organization you're going to join, ask them where is the national action. From one end of the country to the other, ask them to say, where's the national action? The Nation of Islam, ask them, where is your nation? How do you have a nation with no businesses and industries to support its people? Make these people earn the name that they put on their organization. Because this is what my intentions are. And if they can't do that, if you cannot force these people to do what they say they're going to do, because you cannot have a revolution and working for the same people before and after the protest. What kind of revolution are you having if you working for ABC Company and you march there, which is just a signal to them, letting them know that we have no intention on building our own business. We're going to make you hire us. And then you end up working back for them again. What kind of revolution is that? How can you pass this on to your children? How does this make sense today? Now I can see 30, 40, 50 years ago. But how many times have we had, 25, 50-year reunions of failed marches, failed attempts? And you're getting the same freaking results. You end up in another reason to march. Seize control of your businesses and industries. Establish your own wages. Because these fools, like I say, these fools here, they think that people are going to rush back out to jobs that pay less than the cost of living. And they waiting for people to fill these positions. And let me finish by saying this. The real enemy, one of the real enemies is inflation. You are supporting a business structure. The definition of business is what the problem is. It's a series of transactions which result in a profit. That means every year this business stay in existence, they charging more and more every year. So every year that business makes more money than it did the year before. And in order to protect the profitability of these businesses, they have to suppress the wages, because if they raise the cost of business every year, they raise the profit margin every year and raise the people's pay accordingly, they would be in the same position. So the only way they can be profitable is if you let the same people who own these businesses establish your pay. This is why you have to have an external force to compete to make these people that may be outside of our network match your pay. My idea of business is a series of transactions which creates and promotes a quality of life. That way, flesh and blood people will be guaranteed to get paid a living wage, and the business is just an instrument to provide it. I have 100 ideas for my people. That's 100 times better than what these white devils have put in front of us. And the one lady, when I was at this organization I was telling you about. And she said, well, you just have to show people that you're smart enough to know to run it. How dumb do these people got to be before you question their intelligence? When you look at the moral, ethical, financial decline of this country, I mean, there isn't a economic, political, um, look at the pharmaceutical. They charging people $2,000-3,000 a month for a prescription. And if you can't afford it, you die. But they don't fault the system. They fault your ability to pay for it. Name me one legal, law enforcement, political that they have that you can stand on and make America prove that it's America. Where is the greatness? Where is the number one? Number one in what? What are we doing here, people? I mean, I'm literally begging you to help me help you. You can't, when you have a system that value and devalue people at their discretion. You sent troops over here in Afghanistan. You trained people who you knew wasn't going to fight for themselves for 20 years. You spent $2 trillion, left billions of dollars worth of equipment over there, all to safeguard the people in Afghanistan. And then at a moment's notice, when you reach this so-called imaginary deadline, you abandoned them, left them at the mercy of the Taliban. You value and devalue people like it's nothing. Then you pass laws telling the people that they can drive cars in what they perceive to be mobs of people. You pass laws to, if you just help a woman into an abortion clinic, anybody that see you, they can sue you. Where's the United in the United States? And then when you have hurricanes, pandemics, wildfires, then you call out to the people to help each other. The same person that you sued yesterday, now today they need your help. Where's the competency at? Where's the stability? How can you have stability in anything with this type of example that you got in Leadership 9? When you send in troops to war, but when they come back, they go to a totally different hospital than the people who sent them. Don't that show you their intentions? When these people reach certain economic status that you didn't put in position either politically, oh Jesus Christ, big old fly, that you either put in business politically or supporting their business, and they take their children out of public schools and put them in the private schools. Don't that show their intention? You have a small number of people controlling the majority because we won't do for ourselves. Our salvation is not in this system. It is outside of it. And it's always been. I'm going to end this video here. And if you like this message, please consider subscribing to this channel. And with this video, as with all my videos, it is for the complete liberation of my people. And I'll see you in my next message. Ashe.